It's time to stop applying your makeup like you did 20 or 30 years ago. If you are 40 or older and you're still applying your makeup the same as you did in your 20s or 30s, stop. Our skin has changed, the colors have changed in it, the texture has changed. It really doesn't matter how good you've taken care of your skin. You have likely acquired a few fine lines, some texture issues, maybe some sun damage, things like that. So even though we still get a blemish, I have quite a few today, I'm not going to do my makeup like I did when I was in my 20s and 30s. Less is more. I know that you've probably heard that one before, but instead of using a full coverage foundation, use a lighter version, a tinted moisturizer, or in my case, I use cream foundations. You can mix these with moisturizer to make tinted moisturizer, but a lot of the coverage and how heavy it is comes from what brush you choose to apply it with. The denser the bristles, the more coverage you're going to get. Try something that has a little less stiffness to it, maybe a little bit fluffier, or even something really, really light and fluffy like this. I wouldn't go as far as a big fluffy powder brush because it's going to be hard to apply it, but I'm going to apply my foundation with this brush right here into my foundation, and I'm going to choose the color that is closest to my skin, which is this one right here, and I'm just tapping into it lightly. A little bit goes a long way, so I'm just going to kind of tap this all over, and I'm going to blend lightly. I'll just do one side so you can see the difference, because it's not going to be immediate. You're just going to notice that my redness is going to be evened out and my skin's going to look a bit smoother. And I'm a big fan of using your darker foundation color to cover darkness, especially in areas like around your eyes, instead of using a light, bright concealer in that area. If you use something that's too light, it's going to end up adding more texture, and it's also going to start looking kind of chalky, and it'll really emphasize fine lines and wrinkles. When we're applying makeup around our eyes, we want to try to use the least amount that we can. Okay, so see how that just evened things out? Second tip is flipping the brush over, using the smaller side, and using a lighter color, maybe not too light, maybe just a shade lighter than your foundation color, and just putting a little bit on the corner of your eye and kind of dusting that in an upward motion. This is going to brighten right there. I also like to do this on the inner corner, just to bring a little light there. If you have dark circles or shadowing, don't put it here. You can use your darker foundation for that. If you need a little bit more coverage, you can add a little bit more coverage there. Let's move on to contour. I think contour is really important, but I also don't think that you have to go crazy with it. So another tip for mature skin is not to use something that's too cool, meaning like this contour is a very cool ashy contour. We do want it to mimic a shadow, but as we get older, we lose a lot of the warmth that we naturally had in our skin when we were younger. So I really like to pick something that's not as ashy. This color right here, it's called Suede. It's kind of a perfect in-between of bronzer and contour. And I'm going to use this around my hairline, anywhere that I might look kind of dull, and it's usually on the outer parts of my face. And then I'm going to put this right on my cheekbone. So a good rule is to find the dip in your face where your cheekbone right below it, and then apply right above it. And we're going to go in an up and back motion because we want to stay lifted. This is a step that a lot of people want to skip because they're like, I don't need that. It looks like too much work. It's really too hard. But I want you to see what a difference this can make in the glow of my skin, but also just kind of giving me that nice soft lift. Number 3, or letter E motion, right along my jawline, not where it dips in right there, not where I have that little gel. I like to avoid that area, and then I just kind of pull it down to create a nice soft natural shadow. But see how it just tightened up all of my jawline. Use this as your eyeshadow too. Like, makeup doesn't need to be so complicated. You don't need 18 things. You could actually add a little bit more of this and use it as a blush color. And I really like to apply blush where you naturally blush. So for me, I actually have quite a bit of natural flush in this area. And so I like to kind of apply it in that same area. We're going to add a little blush. I'm just going to grab a different brush here, and I'm going to tap into this one right here. This is from our demi line. They're very, very highly pigmented colors, and I'm just going to give myself a little bit extra flush right in that area above where I applied that shadow. I think everybody, especially as we get older, needs a little bit of blush. I think that it creates a really pretty, soft, youthful look. So that's it for that. We can use something like this on our lips too. If you do get any of our demi colors, they are so highly pigmented and they're more like a stain. So you can get a lot of lasting power on your lips with something like this. I think another big tip when we get older is shape your brows. Like, just give them a little attention. Mine are microbladed, so I've kind of cheated. But if you're filling them in, I always say start at the arch and go to the tail before you do anything up in this area. Because the arch and the tail are the areas that tend to thin first, and they also are lighter. So whatever's left on the brush, then you can flick it here and kind of blend it. But a nice shaped brow and a little extra arch is really gonna just tie everything together and frame your face. Another thing that I love to do is use eyeshadow or contour or anything like that as eyeliner. Same color that I used to fill my eyebrows, and I'm going to use this as eyeliner. So really, you can use any brownish color that you have for this. You won't need a lot, but what I love about using a cream or a powder versus a pen or pencil or a liquid eyeliner is that you're going to be able to sculpt out your eyes and bring some attention there, but it's going to be a lot softer finish. And that's something we definitely want to be aware of as we mature. Softer is going to look more youthful. We don't need any harsh lines in anything. About halfway across the bottom. And your eye will actually finish drawing that line. So when you're looking at me, even though I didn't put any right here, it looks like there's a line that goes all the way across. And then I do like to go a little bit further across on the top. And you can even kind of wing this out a little bit, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. Just give your eye a little bit of shape. And you can use that as eyeshadow. So I have a little bit heavier lid, so I like to look straight into the mirror, and I like to apply that above my crease. And I'm just making sure that I'm not coming further past the corner of my eye and the corner of my eyebrow there, because I want to keep this lifted too. And again, I think warmer colors are going to be more flattering. It doesn't matter what color your eyes are or what color your skin is. Generally, if you use a warmer color, a warmer brown, it doesn't even have to be orange. It doesn't have to be this warm, but just something that's not super ashy brown. Bring a lot more life to your skin. Use some mascara, because look at how that just brightened everything up. I have one old coat on here from this morning, but I just added a little bit extra, nice and brightened. Now I'm going to do the other side so that I'm balanced. And then at the very end, I'll cover my couple of blemishes. One of the other tips that I forgot to mention for mature skin is try to kind of stipple that into your skin, push it into your skin more than swiping it around. You'll get better coverage and you won't be tugging at your skin. Okay, have you been thinking about nose contour but you're terrified? Here's a super simple way to do it. That same color that we used around the edges, instead of drawing lines and getting all complicated, we're going to actually kind of find the top of our nose right down the center. You want to keep that a skinny light line, just right beyond that, we're just going to tap very lightly on the side of our nose, or you can just kind of brush it up towards the center. And that will give you a super natural contour without any harsh lines. All right, we need to add that one coat of mascara. And then if you have any little blemishes to cover at the very end, we are going to take a very small brush. And if we're covering any darkness, we're going to use a similar darkness. So I'm going to use my main foundation color that I use, the darker of the two. I'm just going to dot directly on those little spots. Just right on them, not all around them. And then I'm going to take my finger, or if you want, you can just take a really light, fluffy brush and just tap it in. But sometimes I feel like my finger works great because the warmth of my skin is going to melt that in. And then I can just tap without rubbing it around. And because I used a cream foundation, this does not dry, it doesn't set, so it's going to move with my skin. If you would like a little bit extra staying power, you can use a setting spray. And if you don't like the feel of it getting sprayed directly on your face, you can apply it, spray it on a perfector sponge, and then you can lightly tap it in. This sponge has been dampened, so it's about double the size that it was. This is also a great trick on mature skin because it will pull off any excess makeup that you have, and it'll also help push it into your pores and just give you a really pretty finish. If you want to set with powder, you can do that now too. One other thing that I'm going to show you is illuminator. If you don't know what an illuminator is, it adds a nice natural glow to your skin. I do think that with more mature skin, a cream illuminator is going to be much softer and more subtle than a powder illuminator, but use whatever makes you happy. This happens to be one of our cream eyeshadows. Use a little bit as a slight shimmer on that inner corner as eyeshadow, but you can also use this as an illuminator, and watch, you'll see the little bit of glow that it gives. So I'm going to put it down my nose, and I'm going to put it higher on my cheekbone. And I'm just tapping it in lightly. You can even use this as lip gloss if you just want a little extra sheen in the middle. You don't need a ton of products to get this look. I only used 6 products to get this look, and it's really complete. So throw in a mascara and a couple of brushes and you are set. If you need help choosing colors or getting your own custom palette, I'm happy to help you do that. I'm Vanessa. I'm proud to be in my 50s, and I hope that I can make mature makeup easier for you.